They always say the truth has a way of surfacing, but nobody tells you how ugly, loud, and uncomfortable that moment can be when it finally does. For me, it happened on the most public day of my life in front of people who thought they knew exactly who I was and exactly what I deserved. One second I was invisible, the next second I was impossible to ignore. And yeah, everything changed after that. My name is Aaron Cole. I wasn't born powerful, respected, or confident. I was the kid teachers underestimated, the guy bosses talked over, the man people assumed would always stay in his lane. I grew up in a small town outside of Riverside, raised by a single mom who worked night shifts and still came home smiling like everything was fine. We didn't have much, but she taught me something early: keep your head down, work harder than everyone else, and don't expect the world to feel sorry for you. So I didn't. I just kept going. Years later, somehow, that stubborn kid turned into a man running several logistics companies, warehouses, distribution contracts, the kind of boring work nobody brags about, but that quietly makes real money. I didn't flash wealth, didn't chase attention, didn't belong to the old money circles. And that mattered because even when you succeed, people still try to decide whether you deserve it. That's where Vanessa Reed came in. Vanessa knew how to enter a room. Perfect posture, controlled smile, eyes that scanned people like she was measuring their worth. She worked in luxury consulting, which I later learned was a fancy way of saying she knew how to get close to rich men and stay just useful enough to be trusted. She laughed at my jokes, praised my discipline, told me I was different from other men. After years of being underestimated, that felt good. Too good. 6 months later, I was standing in the middle of a vineyard estate in Napa, dressed in a tailored suit. I barely recognized myself and about to marry her. The guests were polished, confident, familiar with power. I wasn't. I still felt like the kid who had to prove he belonged. Vanessa's family whispered about prenups, connections, legacy. I ignored the discomfort. I told myself love wasn't supposed to feel logical. Then the shouting started. At first, I thought it was staff arguing. Weddings are chaotic, right? But then I saw heads turning faces, tightening, the music faltering. And then she appeared. A girl no more than 13. Clothes, dirty hair, uneven, like it had been cut by scissors without a mirror. She ran straight through the crowd, shoes slipping on stone, eyes locked on me like I was the only thing keeping her upright. Security moved fast, hands out, voices sharp. But she reached me first and grabbed my wrist hard. "Don't sign anything," she said, breathless. "Please, you don't know me, but you need to listen." People laughed. I heard it. That uncomfortable kind of laughter people use when they want something embarrassing to end quickly. Someone said, "Get her out of here." Vanessa's face froze, not shocked, not scared, just irritated. I should have pulled away. I should have waved security in. That's what people like me are expected to do: protect the image, avoid the mess. But something in that girl's voice cut through everything. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't rehearsed. It was urgent, like she'd already decided this was worth whatever punishment came next. She pulled out a cheap phone screen, cracked battery flashing red. 30 seconds, she said. That's all. Vanessa stepped forward, smile tight. "Aaron, this is inappropriate. She's clearly unstable." Unstable. Funny how fast people label you when you don't belong. I looked at the girl. She was shaking. Not from fear of security, but from the weight of what she was about to do. "Play it," I said. The recording started: rough wind noise, muffled voices. Then Vanessa's voice came through, sharp, confident mocking. Talking about post-marriage asset transfers, temporary power of attorney, how easy it was to get men like me to sign documents when they trusted you. Laughing about how my background made me eager to be accepted. Calling my charity work a tax-efficient distraction. My stomach dropped. My hands went cold. Every sentence peeled something away. The guests stopped breathing. Someone gasped. Vanessa reached for the phone too late. The girl didn't look at anyone else. She just looked at me. "She's been meeting her lawyer here at night," she said quietly. "I sleep nearby." I heard everything. Silence swallowed the vineyard. I turned to Vanessa. For the first time, she didn't look composed. Her eyes darted, calculating exits. "This is edited," she snapped. "Someone's trying to sabotage us." Her lawyer, seated in the front row, stood up fast. Too fast. That's when I knew. I didn't yell. I didn't explode. I just stepped back and said, "The wedding's over." My voice didn't sound like mine, but it carried. "Everyone can leave." Chaos followed. Security grabbed the lawyer. Phones came out. Vanessa cried, screamed, begged, switched tactics like flipping channels. None of it mattered. The illusion was gone. But the part that stuck with me wasn't the betrayal. It was the girl standing alone as people whispered about her like she wasn't human. I walked over, crouched down so we were eye level. "What's your name?" I asked. "Maya," she said. I didn't want anything. I know what it's like when people use you and nobody believes you. That hit harder than the recording. Maya had been living between shelters after running from an abusive foster home. She slept near the venue because it was quiet. She overheard the meetings by accident, then on purpose. She knew nobody would listen to her. She tried anyway. That night, while lawyers and police handled the mess, I made a decision that felt heavier than canceling a wedding. I told her she wasn't going back to the streets. Not tonight. Not ever, if I could help it. People love the ending, the justice, the downfall. They ask if Vanessa went to prison. She did. Fraud charges don't care how polished you look. But that's not the victory. The real win was watching Maya learn she wasn't invisible. Seeing her realize her voice mattered even when it shook. Watching her go from a girl everyone tried to silence to someone who knew her truth carried weight. And me, I had to confront something uncomfortable. I wasn't just betrayed. I was targeted because people assumed I needed validation. Because I didn't grow up in their world. Because they thought I'd be grateful just to be included. That day forced me to stop trying to fit into rooms that never respected me in the first place. A year later, Maya lives with me. She's back in school. Loud, opinionated, sharp as hell. She calls me out when I dodge hard conversations. She reminds me who I was before success tried to sand me down. Sometimes we talk about that day. About how close everything came to going wrong. About how courage doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like a shaking hand holding a cracked phone in front of people who don't want to hear you. So here's my question to you. If you were there, would you have listened to her? Or would you have protected the image, the comfort, the illusion? And if you've ever been the one people talked over, dismissed, or underestimated, what moment finally made you speak up? Tell me what you think. Argue if you want. Share your story. Because the truth doesn't just change lives when it's spoken. It changes lives when someone decides to listen.